Purchasing games has become more convenient than ever, with most current-gen consoles being backwards compatible and the best amount of games you can find on the digital catalog. There's plenty of options to choose from, but not everything is fantasy and wonderland. With the arrival of the PlayStation 5, purchasing a game has become quite confusing. Some games don't offer the full PS5 upgrade, while others do, but they don't properly show as a PS5 game. I'm Leo S. Luna, and this time I'll teach you all the things you should know before getting a PlayStation game or content on digital or physical format, from the very first PlayStation 1 up to the PS5. I know some of you may know the basics, but I'm pretty sure you'll learn some curious facts I'll mention that you might not know as well. So let's get started. The digital market had become the most convenient way of getting a video game. Digital downloads represent 66% of all software sales during the latest Sony PlayStation fiscal year. To get a digital game, you only require internet connectivity and enough storage to download. On PS5, it is as simple as pressing triangle, tap the game you're looking for, and voila! You can also go to PlayStation Store directly, the same way as the PS4 and PS3. Yes, as of today, you can still get digital games on the PlayStation 3. More on that on the Retro Games chapter. On the PlayStation Store, you can find deals, browse game by genre, price, platform, and so on. PlayStation does announce their deals at PlayStation Blog and social network accounts, but if that's inconvenient, you can always check the PlayStation Store on the console itself at least once a week for deals and new releases. You can also wishlist your games so the system will notify you when they're on sale in the future. I strongly suggest getting the PlayStation app so you can get notifications of the offers as well. You can actually browse on the PlayStation Store over there, otherwise you can still purchase games on the web browser version. Keep in mind you can only get PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 and some PS Vita cross-buy titles over there. It's very difficult to get online codes of digital games and third-party stores, but that's why I always recommend PlayStation gift card in case you're planning to give a present to anyone or is simply your only choice. These are available in most local stores and online such as Amazon and Newegg, just to name a few. Accepted currencies are credit, debit cards, PayPal, and PlayStation gift cards. If you want to purchase video games from another country, make sure one of those currencies works for you. Some people like me that live in Costa Rica have accounts from the United States or Japan only to have access to more promos and options. However, my debit cards don't work, neither does PayPal unless they're from the country. Credit cards and PlayStation gift cards do work in my case as a Costa Rican, so it depends on your currency and your location. PlayStation Plus gives you access to a lot of games on different tier models for PS4 and PS5. I already explained more details in my previous video. If you haven't seen it, I can share again the comparison chart I did. You can find the PlayStation Plus games here on the PlayStation 5 and here on the PlayStation 4. In general, Essential gives monthly games free to download, which I recommend to own before the last day of every month. You can use them as long as you keep your subscription active. PS5 owners do have a collection catalog ready to download as well. PlayStation Extra offers the essential benefits and hundreds of PS4 and PS5 titles like Returnal, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ghost of Tsushima Director Scott, and many more. As a curious fact, you can use the PS Plus Extra games catalog offline for up to 7 days. After that, it will do an online check. PlayStation Plus Premium includes the extra benefits and expands the catalog with hundreds of PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS3 games. You can also download trials selected by Sony for first and third-party titles. The only downside is that PlayStation 3 games only work in streaming mode, similar to Google Stadia or Xbox Cloud Games. There's another version for selected countries named Deluxe that for less money you'll get all that except PS3 streaming games. As a curious fact, all those retro games are only accessible through that tier, so you can't purchase them separately. You can use PlayStation Plus Premium membership to play games on your PC via cloud streaming. Simply download the PC streaming app, connect any DualShock controller, select any from the catalog, and you're ready to go. Consider that this list is somewhat different from what is offered on PlayStation 4 and PS5, but you can find mostly PS4 titles and a handful of PS5 and retro games. According to the forgotten by everyone except firm lawyers terms and conditions document, every digital purchase will be attached to your account and you can download them anytime you want as long as PlayStation Network services are working. And if your account gets deleted, you will lose every game purchase forever. And I don't want to discourage you, but it's my duty to remind people that you do not actually own any video game purchase on the PlayStation Store. You are technically purchasing a license to use the digital product. That means you do not have the right to resell or modify video games. In general, most digital products act this way. The only digital stores I know that give you a free DRM video game are on PC, specifically CD Projekt Red's GOG, each store portal, and some proprietary video game publishers that sell their titles on their own websites like Red Candle Games. This is a delicate subject that needs another video, but let me know if you're interested in this. If you have downloaded and played the game, you'll lose any right to ask for a refund. Feel free to consult the cancellation policy I left on the description before pre-ordering or buying something. If you're eligible, you have 14 days to cancel your purchase in the worst case scenario that you were a victim of file corruption or a hard drive crash, and one of the titles you had is no longer a PlayStation Network. You will basically lose access to that content forever and you have no rights to reclaim it back. The infamous case of Silent Hills, aka PT, is the perfect example of a title that is no longer available, and lucky people who already have it will need to be extra careful to not lose it forever. That's why you'll see PlayStation consoles with PT at ridiculous prices. Speaking of sharing your digital content, your licenses will remain on your profile and the main console. The profile will be attached to your PS5 or PS4 the very first time you logged in. From there, every profile on the console can use the digital content even offline. And yes, you can still share digital content with another console on a PS5 as well on PS4. For those who don't know, the idea is simple. As you don't own the games but do own the digital licenses, sorry to keep scratching that ill, you can actually share your licenses up to 3 consoles, whether it's 2 PS4s and 1 PS5, or 2 PS5s and 1 PS4. That means you can actually purchase games for a third or half part the cost with other folks. When signing in with the licenses profile, make sure to select Add a user to this PS5 or PS4 in that case, and get started. The other option to the right is only for guests, and licenses will not work offline for other profiles in the console. On the PlayStation 4, go to Settings, Account Management, and activate as your primary PS4. On the PlayStation 5, go to Settings, User and Accounts, Other, and Console Sharing and Offline Play. There you'll hit Enable. With these settings activated, any profile on that console can use your licenses online or offline. The first caveat: one of the 3 consoles must use the license's owner profile and it must be connected to the internet in order to use digital content. The second one is you cannot use your profile on 2 consoles online simultaneously. If you did this by accident and now you can't access your games on the console you want, there's a simple fix. Go to the console you logged in last time and completely log off, then sign in with another profile you have. Power off that console and go back to the one you want to use your profile, and there you go, problem solved. PlayStation Plus can also be shared with other consoles, but keep in mind you still have to log in with the profile subscribed to Plus every time you want to download something from the catalog. Also, only members will have access to PlayStation Plus deals and perks, regardless of whether you're sharing your licenses to another console, which is also important when you're deciding who's going to purchase the content or the video game. Physical games are still relevant to Sony's market, and there are many advantages of getting a copy of a title you actually own. Well, in most cases, 99% of physical games are compatible with the PS5. However, PS5 games will not work on the PS4. The good thing is most discs contain the full original game ready to be installed and be played without having to go online. That's why I always recommend to PlayStation owners which version you will get. More on that in the Getting a PS5 Upgrade chapter. Physical property is real and you can simply do whatever you want with it. You can resell it, lend it, exchange it, collect them all, recycle it, etc. Now it's a great time to purchase used PS4 titles with the arrival of the PlayStation 5. Even more considering the price cut of most titles. Of course, companies may choose what specific content will you download on that disc, meaning current and day one updates will not be present. Some physical games that require constant connectivity will not make that much sense. Game discs like Destiny 2 will include the original content, but it's no longer near the original, plus it doesn't make sense to have it now that it is free to play. That said, unless you see a special offer around, I'd recommend getting games as a service titles on digital rather than physical. Luckily, most of the PlayStation first-party titles are single-story games and very collectible. A couple of things you should know before getting a physical game. This is rare, but be sure you're actually getting a game disc instead of a box with a redeemable code within. Also, most collector's editions don't include a physical copy. And lastly, always compare prices between your local stores and digital markets like Amazon and eBay. Wishlists do help to keep track of your most wanted video games. The general rule is that the more the demand and competition, the better the offer. Countries like the United States and UK do have a wide amount of offers in the market that will help to lower the price, but places like Costa Rica, where I'm currently living, where demand is not that huge, video game prices will remain constant with no price changes. That's when most people tend to go to flea markets or simply buy used titles directly from owners, which I'd be careful about. I also recommend a desktop browser extension called Honey, not sponsored, that will compare products with other digital stores to get the best value. It also tracks the price history of most articles, so you will know when it will be the best time to get it. And it is very useful to get coupons elsewhere. And for those collectors, I recommend investigating if the game you want will have a physical format later on. There are stores like iam8bit that will publish unlikely titles such as Stray. There are also stores selling limited copies of games like Limited Run Games or Special Reserve Games that will sell titles on limited time span. Many of them are for PS4 and PS5 like Panzer Dragoon Saga or Death's Door. In my experience, Black Friday, Cyber Monday and after Christmas Eve are the best times to get their best values. Sometimes Amazon will grant 3 for 2 offers and places like Newegg will grant you discount coupons. But if you're a supporter, keep in mind that gaming companies will actually profit the most in the first 3 months after its release. They do have to eat and live plenty, and the best way to let them know they should keep doing awesome games is by getting them on that time span. It's all up to you. Cross-gen games could be the most confusing topic of this new generation. It doesn't work the same way for every game, but here's what you need to know. Game discs contain the information of the respective PlayStation console entitled on the box. It doesn't include both PS4 and PS5 data. It's one or the other. If the game says PS4 on the top cover, the disc will contain PS4 data. If it's for the PS5, then it will contain PS5 content. For example, if you get the Endel Ring PS4 version to play on the PS5, it will install the PS4 version offline or online regardless. But what if you want to play the PS5 version? Aside from getting the PS5 disc, PS4 games that have the PS5 upgrade feature will entitle you to the respective PS5 version of the game. That of course is a gaming license tied to your profile and your game disc only available online, and games like Elden Ring do have it. Simply go to the game, select the 3 dots option menu and choose View Product. Hit on Select Version and choose the one you're interested in. PlayStation 5 versions do offer enhanced visuals, faster loading times and DualSense support, just to name a few, so I suggest searching online and check for a PS5 upgrade availability. Also be sure to check the PS5 label. However, not every game that gets updated is labeled as a PS5 game. Rocket League and Raji and Asian Epic are good examples of that. If I wasn't following them on social media, I wouldn't have noticed they do have PS5 upgrades. God of War and The Last of Us Part 2 have received PS5 updates to run at dynamic 4K and 60 FPS, but they're still not labeled as PS5 titles. Perhaps that is because, well, they do charge extra $10 for the PS5 version on some titles like Ghost of Tsushima, Gran Turismo 7, and Uncharted 4 for those who already own the PS4 disc. Third parties like Activision with the Call of Duty franchise are no exception. So once again, I recommend following the title on your PS5 or following them elsewhere. Other video games like Guardians of the Galaxy and Guilty Gear Strive do offer a free upgrade with no additional cost, so you better investigate before buying. Oh, by the way, I do recommend checking out PS4 games as they sometimes offer enhancements only by hardware and at no additional cost. Games like Sekiro and Monster Hunter World run at 60 FPS without any update, taking advantage of the PlayStation 5. All of this is important for collectors, people that want to play offline or that want to get the best value. Do you want to actually own the game and play the best version of the PS5 online? Then get the PS5 One. Do you want the best value to resell it in an uncertain future? I recommend getting the PS4 version as it will have much more demand to sell it to both PS4 and PS5 owners. From a price standpoint, it sounds more reasonable to get cross-gen PS4 versions, since the PS5 discs are not compatible with the PS4, but it is all up to you. DLCs and expansions can be found for purchase the same way as getting a game on your PlayStation 5. They should also be found below the game's main page. Once installed, they can be found by pressing the Options button on the game and selecting Manage Game Content. On the PlayStation 4, you hit the Options button and choose Information, then hit X to view all DLC content. Keep in mind that some games like Dark Souls 3, the Fire Fates edition, will include the DLC as one package, meaning you will not see it on the Manage Game Content DLC tab. The same goes to most physical and digital editions that include the game and DLCs. Characters, levels, updates, season passes, and expansions can be shared with anyone else as long as you have your licenses on that console. Basically, whatever is downloadable. On the other hand, content like discounts, perks, subscription battle passes, and in-game currencies are tied to your profile you purchase and cannot be shared to others in the console. You get a Fortnite Battle Pass and it will only be for you. You get a Fall Guys gaming currency with your profile and only you can spend it on the in-game store. Since the PlayStation 3, all titles are region-free, meaning you can get a Japanese version of a PS4 title that will work fine on your American PlayStation 4, for instance. Keep in mind that some versions might not include full language support, so make sure the video game you're shipping overseas or getting from another PlayStation store does have an option to download the language you want. In some rare cases, games will have small differences in design. For example, Wolfenstein's newest games look a bit different in Germany than the rest of the world, with lots of original logos changed to suit government requirements. To get video games from other regions like Latin America or Japan, you should make an account specific to that region. As long as the licenses are on your consoles, the games are accessible to any profile. If you happen to get a PS4 game from another region with a PS5 upgrade, keep in mind that the only way to get that is by logging into the respective version and downloading it. It happened to me with my Asian PS4 Fist copy where I required a Japanese account to download the PS5 upgrade. After that, you can easily update and play your game with the profile of your choice. If you're interested in getting Japanese video games, I suggest PlayAsia or Japan.jp. European games can be found on Game or Amazon. Up to this date, both PS4 and PS5 support expansion storage units. I'm not going to deep dive from hardware specs today, but keep in mind that PS4 games work just fine on hard drive or SSD storage expansion units for both consoles. The PlayStation 5 does boost speed slightly better, and PS4 games work insanely faster on the internal or SSD M.2 storage. I'd recommend trying the titles on both storage units just to see if the loading times difference is significant to you. PlayStation 5 games can be stored on external drives but cannot be played as they require 5000 MB per second speed of the internal and M.2 SSD memory. If you want to play older games, you can still get the consoles and video games on local and online stores, keeping in mind the prices are going up for those. Sony does offer a decent amount of downloadable retro titles if you get the PlayStation Plus Premium or Deluxe tier for PS4 and PS5 users. That will include dozens of PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS3 games from their selection. PlayStation 3 games will only be available for premium members as streaming-only games, meaning you always need to be connected with at least 15 MB per second upload and download speeds to use them. Sony promised to keep that list updated, by the way. There's another way of getting retro games for cheaper, and that is buying a PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation Vita. Only on those consoles, and as of today, you can still buy thousands of PS1, PS2, PSP, PS Vita, and PlayStation 3 games. It's insane the amount of games that you can only get there. There are a lot of PS2 and PS1 titles that are expensive to get physically, but cheaper to get on the digital market. Then of course you have to keep in mind the terms and conditions I explained before do apply on these old consoles as well. Sony previously intended to shut down PlayStation Network services for both PS Vita and PS3, but backtracked due to fan backlash, something really unheard of by other companies. But as all digital things, they don't last forever, so try to get all your favorite games before they go away. You can't get currency there, but it is as simple as purchasing gift cards and redeem them on your profile from your console's PlayStation app or a web browser. Once done, you'll see the currency on the PS Vita and PlayStation 3. PS3 games will only work on the PS3 and vice versa to the PS Vita, unless it has the crossplay feature. So that is all for this video. I try to cover every piece of advice before you're getting any PlayStation game, but let me know down in the comments what aspects I missed or what concerns you have before getting any. Also, let me know if you own other platforms such as Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series, and PC, since I'm planning to do a similar video for those as well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow me to watch more content like this. Happy game hunting, and see you next time.